Anybody who's got a vehicle, been into a dealer group, they can see there's something lacking, and for us, we think we've found something to bridge that gap. They wanted some way to be able to communicate back to their customers, and also the low-hanging fruit. These are customers which you want to keep as your customers, keep word of mouth going, keep them retained. How do we do that? In essence, it's free. Doing push notifications, it was a great way of evolving from email communication through to communication through the app. Whereabout, I suppose, SMSs do have a cost to it.
Also, for the smaller dealers, the independent, smaller franchise dealers, allows them to make themselves look equally professional or more professional than some of their competitors who have much larger marketing budgets. Welcome to the Dealer Tech Talk podcast, where we explore the technology shaping modern dealerships. And I'm your host, Simon Verona. Today, I'm delighted to be joined by Alan Easton, Managing Director of AU Limitless. Welcome today, Alan.
Nice to be here, Simon. Thanks for having me.
Yeah. I'm guessing many of my listeners won't have any idea who Alan Easton is or what AU Limitless do. I don't know whether in a few sentences you can kind of describe what you do, what AU Limitless does.
Absolutely, yeah. So my background is in technology. I was a software engineer about 100 years ago, but so I've done a variety of things before actually getting to AU, which was about 2.5 years ago. So I joined as technical director and now MD. So what appealed to me about the company, about the role, is the fact of what we're trying to do in the automotive industry. Software is not new to me, but automotive is. So what we're trying to do is kind of like bring a retention platform into the industry to help dealer groups. The whole idea being is that we can provide something that keeps dealer groups in touch with their customers, which I think is a bit lacking. Anybody who's got a vehicle, been into a dealer group, they can see there's something lacking, and for us, we think we've found something to bridge that gap. So for us, the platform is a native app. It's based around getting that connection between the dealer group and the customer and keeping that longevity throughout that journey.
That's fascinating. I think, and apps for fascinating is I think dealers will all be used to using an app. You know, they're all buying things on Amazon. They're all using the Facebook app, or the apps are on the phones. But I'm guessing that for many dealers out there, they're sitting here today thinking, what am I going to deliver to my customers using an app? Why should I be thinking about investing my time, my energy in giving them an app?
Yeah, I mean, we don't want to overburden the dealer group because, let's face it, they've got a lot of systems to start with. What we're trying to do is be that Switzerland, that one that just sits in the middle of everything and pulls everything together. What we think that is with the dealer group, all the systems that they've got, all the internal IT systems and everything, we wanted something that we think is more customer focused. I think the biggest thing that the dealer group can do is keep their customers close. And in the day and age of everybody being so used to downloading apps, there's an app for absolutely everything. What we wanted is to create something that kept that connection with the dealer group, but not overburden them with another system, another piece of technology. We take care of pretty much everything. If they've got internal systems that we need to connect to, we've got a lot of partnerships, a lot of integrations with a lot of different companies. We can handle that side of things. What we want to provide the dealer group is just that mechanism to keep in touch with your customer in the easiest possible way. So we do the heavy lifting. What we do is just speak to the dealer group, find out what the exact requirements are, and then give them the ability to have their own branded app entirely in their own brand, their colors, call it what you want, but allows them to then say the next time the customer is in, tell them about your app, download it, and there's a whole list of features that are possible within the app. And for us, it's getting those features right and then allowing the dealer group to roll it out.
Okay, so obviously you've got the app.
Yeah.
What sort of features would a dealer think about putting into the app? What are they looking to deliver in terms of functionality to their customers?
Yep. So I think for the people that we spoke to and the customers that we've got, we do listen. That's the biggest part. The retention side of things is a massive thing for dealer groups. Sometimes when the customer leaves, they've taken delivery of their car or they've just had their service, they walk out the door and they're not really seen again until the customer comes back. We want it to be a bit more proactive the other way. If somebody has the app on their phone, we give them the usual features, as we call them, about having their vehicle on there, getting service reminders, MOT reminders, keep all your documentation on. So you've got a home for all of your vehicle information. You can upload everything, and it's the one-stop place that you've got everything. But we also allow the dealer group themselves to communicate with the customer. You can do marketing campaigns via push notifications. It's a free way of getting your message out there. We know that push notifications have a much higher adoption and utilization rate than email. And for us, using these basic features, it means that the customer has a place for all their information, and the dealer group also has a mechanism to get in touch, whether they are running a promotion, selling something new, something that's a bit specific to their vehicle and their brand, because it can be tailored that way. You can then send something out to your customer, try and get them engaged, and they can respond by getting in contact, making a booking, talking further. It just means that you have that ecosystem in the back pocket of your customer, and hopefully through that, you've got a direct messaging service and a way to communicate directly into their back pocket as well.
So I presume the benefit of the app in that regard is that you can link that process of notification and then action from that, and that the call to action, you can then actually complete that next task, whether that's be a service booking, or your warranty's expired, do you want to buy an extension to your warranty? And that's all can be within that same app without ever leaving it.
Yeah, I think that's the idea, and the fact that we've got a lot of partnerships over the last 2-3 years, spoken to a lot of DMS providers. We have those integrations. If we don't have them, we're pretty confident that we can get them done anyway. But because we have that, we're not then burdening the dealer group with another system. We are just connecting the dots. If you allow us to do that example that you just used, if you have an MOT coming up or a service booking, you'll get that reminder. You can tap in the app and you'll be able to go through and make that service booking in the app. Pick your time, pick your slot, pick your location, and it's all done within the touch of a few buttons. So that's the idea of trying to make it self-serve for the customer. If they've had the reminder, they don't want to have to say, oh, I'm going to have to ring them, or I'm going to have to send an email or something. Do it in the app. We have, for example, if it's a service booking, we've got the availability of the calendar. They can go in, pick their slot, pick their day, and hopefully just make it a bit more seamless at any point of the day that the customer wants, instead of having to wait until they're open the next day. So yes, for the integrations that we've got and the partnerships that we've got, we're hoping that it is a bit of a connecting of the dots more than just adding another service or adding another system on top for the dealer group. So hopefully not giving them any more headaches.
Yeah, I mean, I think from my perspective, I think one of the most contact-heavy parts of the dealer-customer relationship, and I do it by sitting in dealerships every now and then. And if I sit in a service department for an afternoon, I can guarantee that I see this happening live. You know, you sit in a service department for the afternoon, the phone is ringing all the time.
Yeah.
And you know before you answer the phone, and generally you're struggling to answer the phone because you're dealing with customers at the front sometimes, which means that the phone is just ringing and ringing and ringing. But you know when you answer the phone, the customer's got 2 questions. The 2 questions are, is my car ready? And the secondary question is, how much is it going to cost?
Yes.
An app seems to be like a perfect way of removing that and getting the customer to self-serve that sort of information.
Yeah, I mean, that's a good example, because what we've just implemented is that service tracker for somebody once they've booked their car in, once they've dropped it off. I think we spoke to a few dealer groups and they even had a sweet spot of about 11:15 till 11:30 when somebody gets that feeling as to say, right, what's happening? And we all know that if you don't hear anything, whether it's good, bad, or indifferent, you're picking up the phone. And one of the biggest bugbears is that the fact that the phone just rings, or it gets answered and somebody says, I'll ring you back, and then they don't ring you back. This way, through the app, we are giving the customer live updates, which is good, so they can physically see that their car is traveling through the service department. It also gives you the opportunity to send a message to your service advisor. Once you drop the car off, you get assigned a service advisor. Again, this can flex between different dealer groups, but for us, It means that hopefully you've got the confidence that you're getting notified that your car is actually progressing, and you've got the opportunity to ask a question, and also the service advisor has the opportunity to ask you a question as well. That is convenient for you. So you'll get a push notification. You might be at work, might be at lunch, might be in a meeting, but your phone will tell you, oh, you've got a message waiting. So you tap your phone and you can reply. So we're trying to make that a bit more seamless and integrated to the person's day, not just for the dealer group and their service technicians, but also for the customer who's at work or doing whatever. And again, whether it's a question about when the car's ready or a question about how much something's going to cost, you can have that two-way communication, but you can also get notified on the status of your car. It's been assigned, it's on the ramp, it's been washed, it's ready for collection, all this kind of stuff. And our forecast with working with various dealer groups is the fact that this is going to save time, and time is money. It just means that then people can actually do something else apart from answering call after call after call. So efficiency and communication, and hopefully keeping that customer happy, that is the biggest part of what we try and do. Keep that customer journey to point, making sure that the customer is happy as possible.
I have to say the thing that strikes me in all that is the similarity between that process of the service tracker with things that maybe people are well used to using. You know, if you order from Domino's Pizza, for example, that service tracker, like that says, it's being prepared, it's in the oven, it's out on the thing, it's turned up. I always amused me when I read many years ago that Domino's didn't actually have any active tracking.
No.
It's just they just work on a timer so that they work on the basis they can deliver your pizza 30 minutes later. They just move the status on. And I know that dealers won't do that, but it's the psychology behind it, that because you know what's happening, you've got that comfort and you're not ringing up to say, was my pizza here yet? Or is my car ready yet? Oh, it's on the ramp now. I know how it's getting on. I don't have to think about it. It's just there.
That's the thing, Si. And I think everybody knows that if they don't hear from anybody, your mind starts to wander. It's as simple as that. And especially when your car's off and you know to the fact that, I may have to pick up the kids afterwards. I need to go there. When's my car? Am I going to get my car back? If they don't hear anything, they're straight on the phone. This way, we're trying to alleviate that pressure, that time pressure from the customer to think what is actually happening. If you keep that customer informed, if they've got a mechanism as well to ask a question and get a response, that's the other thing. You can try and manage that potential anxiety as they go through the day, wondering what's happening with their vehicle. But you're right, it's the same mentality, Domino's Pizza, a bit of gamification, but it's nice. You can see, my pizza's nearly done. I know it's on the way. Same kind of thing. Little bits of information at the right time gives the customer that confidence that something's happening with the vehicle and that it is going to be hopefully ready by the end of the day.
I like it. Obviously, I would guess the app has developed over a period of time, and the app as you have it today and the features in the app you have it today are probably quite different to how you started or how you envisaged it. Yeah. I mean, what have you learned over the way about what works, what doesn't work, and then translating that into where you feel the app's going to be in the future? Where do you think app technology is going to be in 2 years' time, for example?
Yeah, I think the learning curve has been good. Again, before I even started with AU, but you have to start somewhere. So really, this started out as a warranty app, really, somewhere to make your claim a convenient way. But as we started talking to more people, independents, large dealer groups, everybody, they wanted some way to be able to communicate back to their customers. And also the low-hanging fruit. These are customers which you want to keep as your customers. Keep word of mouth going. Keep them retained. How do we do that? So as we started looking at that side of things, we worked with customers around what would be the features, what would be the thing that would hopefully drive them back to a single place in an app that they would use. So hence we came down the idea of getting the vehicle in there, getting all the information of the vehicle, getting the reminders, doing push notifications. It was a great way of moving, kind of like evolving from email communication through to communication through the app. In essence, it's free, whereabouts, I suppose, SMSs do have a cost to it. So we learned around the fact that looking at the customer and how could we enhance that customer journey with the dealer group. Going beyond that, you then start thinking about the dealer group themselves as to what pain points have they had through the normal working life of having a customer on board through an MOT or service or whatever it is, how can we enhance that? And I think that's where the idea around things like the service tracker has come about, whereby we needed to have a mechanism whereby we could integrate with current systems that did things for the dealer group, but also to give it that front face for the customer so they could actually see what was happening as well. So we're tying into a lot more systems whereby the customer gets more visibility. In the past, I don't think that really happened. They never got that visibility. But for now, because of how technology has evolved, we can give them that. We can integrate. We've got the right partnerships with people to be able to get this information. So having the app evolve into something that, for us, it has to be a reason for the customer to keep coming back to. That's why our next stage is looking at a rewards platform as well. So all of these different things that will keep the customer close to the dealer group. That's the biggest thing. If we can keep those touch points quite close, it'll keep evolving. Naturally, the buzzword on everybody's lips is AI. How does AI get involved?
That's my next question.
Exactly. Well, everybody's going to be looking at that. But I think for us, it has to be in the right way. We see that the app will probably be a home for AI. We could build it ourselves, but we're looking at different partners to enable us to use their software within the app. But it's keeping the journey. We think that AI has a place. People should be able to ask the app about their car, about their vehicle, certain things that they don't know, and there will be a mechanism in there to tell them about the vehicle, because people don't know what kind of oil, tire pressure, all this kind of stuff. But we also wanted to help the dealer group to actually go through the full cycle of maybe when somebody has a first touch point, to keep that conversation going, whether it's by phone, email, SMS, WhatsApp, the native app. All of that will be seamless. All of that will be contained within the app. So it'll keep that one customer record all the way through their journey. So we think that will be a natural evolution of the app as well. The app being in the car, that'll probably be another part of that evolution as well. So it's not just on your phone, it'll be in your car, because let's face it, cars are so connected these days. That will be the next thing that people will ask. They will ask the car, not just ask the app. But it will all be seamless. It will all be the same technology, all tied to the same customer record. So it starts to train itself. It starts to use this information to get to know the customer better. And that's where that's valuable information back to the dealer group. If they know the customer, know what they're asking, know their habits, how they use the app, why they use the app, they can tailor that customer journey much better. So again, hopefully we see it benefiting the customer by offering this seamless service, but also benefits the dealer group because data rules, data is king, and that's what the dealer group want. If they can knit together that profile of the customer, they will know how to respond to the customer when, and let's face it, they'd like to keep the customer and sell more vehicles back to the customer. So I think that's certainly where the next 18 months for us lies. Beyond that, yeah, you just pick anything after that, you know what I mean, with how things move so quickly. But I think probably the next 12 to 18 months, that's where it lies in trying to move it along that way.
Okay. I mean, today, there are very few dealers that are offering apps to their customers.
Yep.
Do you perceive as we move forwards, that we hear this a lot about AI as well, do you perceive there'll be like a two-speed journey? Those dealers that have leveraged apps and are using apps that will, as they go further forward, actually gain competitive advantage over dealers that don't have an app?
Yeah, I mean, the conversations that we've had in the last 12 months, they are interesting conversations with dealer groups. There is a fear factor around what does it mean to the company? What does it mean to the customer? They would like something that's probably proven before they implement it. That's always an interesting one, I think, when people are looking at a new piece of technology. But I think the change in mindset probably over the last probably 4 to 6 months has been the fact that how can we gain an advantage over the next dealer group or the next independent or whatever it is? And for us, it's trying to see that, will you be better off with something that gives you that customer attention than not? And I think that's where people are now starting to look at, right, if we had this, how is it going to help us? How is it going to help the customer? And ultimately, how does it help us going back as a dealer group? And I think that's where people are so used to having native apps. We think it is a natural progression in the automotive industry for customers. I think the dealer groups know now that they have to find something else to keep that or to gain that competitive advantage. Having an app which is dedicated to their customers, because one thing we found as well is that a lot of customers, whether they download a warranty app or they download any other kind of app that's to do with their vehicle, that app takes control, it takes ownership of that customer. So the dealer group's losing them. That shouldn't happen. The first thing they should do is when the customer gets engaged with the dealer group, they should have the app there and they should own that customer and keep that customer as they walk out the door, keep re-engaging with the customer. And having a native app allows them to have a natural home for that customer, always having a foot back into the dealer group. So we think that is where people will go down, in the fact that they want their customer to have a home, and the natural home for them is to have something like this that has everything in it, whether it's just about their vehicle or whether it's about everything surrounding their vehicle as well. And it gives them a natural place to communicate back to the dealer group and for the dealer group to communicate back to them as well. So I think that the tide is turning in the fact that they know they need something that allows them to have their customers and have a home for their customers. If they can take that, they've got them within touching distance. And that, we think, is that's a much better place for them to be than having to think about having to do an email campaign or an SMS campaign around the customer. The customer really self-serves because they've got a home, and the dealer group will benefit.
Okay. You mentioned dealer groups.
Yes.
Right the way through this. Do you perceive this as something, the apps are something that you need to be a larger entity of a group, or do you perceive that the independents and the independent franchise dealers that have got maybe one or two dealerships can also benefit from that as well?
I think they can, because dealer groups will look at the volume, I suppose, because of who they are. They are massive. Their turnover is massive. They have multiple sites. But I think if you're an independent with one or two sites, you've got to think of what's the value of that customer that you've potentially worked so hard for to get them in, to get that relationship going. Do you want to continue that relationship? The app can be as cost effective as they want. There's many different ways of getting an app into your business. But I think with looking at how competitive it is now as the industry is, you should be fighting for every customer. So once you have them, shouldn't you want to keep them in some respect? Whether it's whether you sell them a warranty or whatever it is and they walk out the door, but you never know that if they walk out the door but they have their presence, the independence presence in their back pocket, you know that they potentially are telling other people. You know that potentially in a week's time you could contact them for something totally irrelevant, but it might just have a touch point with them. That to me has got to be worth it. That's got to be worth investing in something that allows you to keep that customer within touching distance. Otherwise, I think it's that re-engagement model you're going to have to go through again with that customer that maybe has just left. To me, because apps are they're so part of everybody's daily life now, you want to have something there that at least allows you to get back in contact with the customer, do promotions, do marketing, and the customer can be involved in that. That to me, even for the independent, is worthwhile, because it might not be an immediate thing, but if you give it 4 months, 6 months, 8 months, as you go down the line, you'll build up that customer base, because you're saying, download our app. You might get some promotions, you might get more information. It might be something in there that brings them back in. And that to me has got to be worthwhile.
I guess also for the smaller dealers, the independent, smaller franchise dealers, having a branded app of their own allows them to make themselves look, I guess, equally professional or more professional than perhaps some of their competitors who have much larger marketing budgets and much bigger budgets for doing that kind of thing. It kind of levels the playing ground a little bit.
It does, I suppose, because I think maybe independents, when they think about new technology or they think of having an app of their own, they'll think there's loads of zeros on the end of something, and there's not. I think you've got to be quite pragmatic as to how you look at that investment. And because of even our platform, it can be white labeled, it can be exactly how your independent looks, how your branding looks and everything. It can be yours. It'll be branded as your own. And it gives you that competitive advantage, and it maybe even elevates you to a level which you maybe didn't think was possible before, because you thought that that was outside the budget, so to speak. But I think with how it is now, these are very cost effective, and there are ways of making the independent take care of their customers better in a more professional looking manner as well.
Mm-hmm.
And that to me has got to be something that sets them apart from their competitors. Getting something like this, getting it on board, and just making it part of your brand, making it part of your marketing going forward, to make sure that your customer walks out with it on their phone.
It's fascinating, isn't it? Yeah. Finally, hopefully a dealer sitting here thinking about, maybe I should be looking into that.
Yeah.
If you had to give one bit of advice to a dealer who's kind of now thinking about apps, what would be the first thing that you would suggest they do?
I think looking at the cost of acquisition of a customer, that happens in many different guises. Nowadays, a lot of that stuff is talked about online, but for us, it's a case of how much effort and how much work you put into finding that customer. When you're thinking of what they should do next, think of that time and effort that's put in, and then also how you would actually then want to maintain that going forward. What's that worth to them? If you look at all of that you put in, whether it's through marketing, through promoting your brand or anything, I think you've got to look at, once that customer then is onboarded and you've got them, how do you maintain that communication? How do you maintain that relationship? This to me has got to be something that you think of post-sale or when that customer walks out. What can you do a bit different that is part of your plan of acquiring the customer, but also making sure that you got that relationship going beyond the sale of the vehicle? That to me has got to be worthwhile to think, what else can I do to give me that added advantage?
So it's literally the classic phrase about it's much cheaper to retain a customer than it is to develop a new one.
I think so. And I think for the independents, I think that probably the cost is a lot higher than it is for a bigger dealer group, because they've got more sites, more people. So to me, the value of having that customer and maintaining them has got to be up there. And what else can you do once you've got them on board, once you've built that relationship, because those relationships might be a lot closer than they are with bigger dealer groups. I think it's worthwhile then to see, what else can I do? What else can I make that investment in? And again, the investment is not as big as people think, not with how things are built these days, how they're distributed. Can be very cost effective to get something that's branded your own and makes you feel, I suppose, that bit more professional, and makes the customer feels that they're taken care of. Fantastic.
So finally, Alan, it's been great having you today.
No, it's been good to talk.
If somebody's listening to this and wants to find out more about AU Limitless, how can they contact you?
Yeah, well, the easiest thing is our website is aulimitless.com. We are building our website out, but there's a lot of information as it is there. My email address is just Alan, ALAN, at aulimitless.com. Drop me a line. We can have a chat. I can explain a lot more if people have got loads of questions. Don't mind questions at all. But yes, I'm always free to have a chat and hopefully answer some of those questions and allay some of those fears that people might have of another piece of technology. But I think, as I said, this is a one which I think is worthwhile because it gives your customer a home.
Awesome. And just on that note about getting information, Alan has given us a download that we can put on the Dealer Tech Talk website. So if you go to www.dealertechtalk.uk, click on the option for guides, and you'll find you can download a guide there on apps to help you guide your way through that. And that was the Dealer Tech Talk podcast. Thanks for listening today. If you found this episode useful, please subscribe so you see the next ones. And a big thank you to our sponsors, DMS Navigator, the DMS system that makes you more efficient, delivers you better profit, and delivers fantastic customer service. And Miles Companion, ironically in this thing, the app that increases customer retention and long-term customer profitability. I'm Simon Verona. I'll see you next time on Dealer Tech Talk.